The SEC and Big Ten have been fighting this week, which is fun. And, before we even jump deep into this, the Big Ten's been taking shots at the SEC scheduling. Rhett Lashley of SMU took some shots. Signetti's talked about it. Washington's coaches, Fish has talked about it. What I'll say before we jump into this, I absolutely love this. I don't know about the effectiveness, like Lashley's comment. I understand what he was saying, but so Rhett Lashley specifically at SMU said, listen, the same 6 teams have won the SEC championship since 1964. Okay, well, it's not like any other conference has had like 9 teams. I understand what he's saying there. But what I like about it is no matter what you think of the effectiveness of Signetti saying, oh, well, we just canceled the Virginia series because we were going the SEC route, or Washington saying, the NFL doesn't play FCS teams in the middle of the season and things like that. What I love is for the last 8 months, we've had this narrative of SEC strength of schedule, SEC strength of schedule, SEC strength of schedule. And no matter what you think about how these coaches come off or sound, I'm glad that people are pushing back against that, right? Now, if you're an SEC fan, you absolutely love the strength of schedule argument. That benefits you. But I'm glad that there are some holes being poked in it by some prominent voices in our sport, because we understand how the machine works. If we all chant SEC strength of schedule, SEC strength of schedule over and over and over again, the entire country believes it. And so it's great that there's been some pushback to that. It's great that there has been a lot of, hey, whoa, can we pump the brakes just a little bit and provide some context to how great this strength of schedule is? So again, I haven't even gotten to a question for you yet. I've just rambled about how much I like this, but I am clearly passionate and I love what these coaches are doing.
They're fighting. I love that they're fighting. The SEC and the Big Ten are not friends this week, which was not on my bingo card. The commissioner of the Big 12, Brett Yormark, sat every coach down in our conference and said, when I tell you 5+11, you will fight for 5+11. We are a team. There is cohesion. If I'm Greg Sankey, I sit with the SEC coaches. Tony Petitti, I say, don't say anything mean about the SEC or conversely, the Big Ten. And what did they do? They went guns a-blazing against each other. You can see that the SEC, and I know the focus is on the Big Ten and their comments here, but you can see the SEC is starting to kind of implode. 2 years without a team in the national championship game, and now they're talking like they're the underdog. Now they're speaking like the entire country hates them because they're the underdog. And that vernacular is just not going to work when you've told us how good you are year in and year out forever. That just means more. Then the Big Ten gets the podium this week, and even Rhett Lashley with the ACC, and they point at the SEC and they say, you're playing 8 conference games. In the Big Ten, we play 9. In the Big 12, we play 9. In the ACC, we play 9. That's part of college football. It's what we do. And Greg Sankey can't answer it. No one in the SEC can answer why they won't play 9. Oh, because our conference is tougher. That's not an excuse to not play 9 games in your conference. Texas high school football doesn't say, oh, that district looks really good. You can only play 3 district games instead of your usual 6 or 7. It doesn't work that way. It's part of being in a conference, and the SEC skirts around. And they go, well, we're playing Power 4 games. You have 4 non-conference games. You have an extra non-conference game. And yeah, maybe you're using that against Wake Forest. Maybe you're using it against Oklahoma State. But you're also using it in November against Western Carolina. I thought it was a great comment. I wish I could remember the pundit who said it. The NFL doesn't stop in December and play a game against the CFL. It doesn't happen midseason. We don't do things like that. The SEC does that to further build up their win totals and their strength late in the year. And to Signetti's point, I think this is a big pushback on Kalani Sitake. Sitake stood up at Big 12 Media Days and said, we want to play 3 non-conference games against Power 4 opponents. Let's kill the mid-majors. He didn't say that. I don't think he wants to do it, but it would kill the mid-majors. They wouldn't get a check. And my problem is a Big 12 school, and this is a hard hypothetical, but just wrap your mind around it, like a BYU goes 9-0 in conference play, loses the Big 12 championship, and their 3 non-conference games were Western Carolina, Wofford, and Mercer. They're a 12-1 Big 12 team. They're going to the college football playoff. Wait a second. Their non-conference was Indiana, Ohio State, and LSU. They go 9-3, lose the Big 12 title. They're 9-4. They miss the college football playoff. We don't care about strength of schedule near as much as everyone says the committee does. The committee cares about wins. If you have 12 wins, there's no keeping you out. Hello, Boise State. Good to see you. If you have 12 wins, you're going to get in. I think what Kurt Signetti is saying is more of a pushback on that than it actually is the SEC. Let's just go win as many games as possible. And at the end of the year, our strength of schedule is 52nd. but we're not 9-3. We're 12-0. You can't argue against 12-0. That gets a whole lot tougher. You can't leave that out in a 12-team format. That's why the whole system's broken, and I think you should play as many easy games as possible.
What's interesting to me is it's a funny argument because what it is in fact arguing, right? When you really like strip away the nuts of the bolts.
Okay.
What it is in fact arguing is which teams deserve to be 11-12 in our playoff. And if you or 10-11 if you're going to put the group of 5 team at 12, or when we upgrade the playoff, or not upgrade, certainly no, because adding teams does anything but that. But when we expand the playoff is the appropriate word. We're arguing about which teams are 13, 14, and 15, right? We're arguing about that, right? And really, the debate is always between like the last 2 teams. It is who is 15 and 16 in this dance. And we are, man, both conferences, and then your mark and I mean the ACC doesn't know what the heck they're doing, on any given day, so they're not even really part of this conversation. But we, what we're arguing is so, I don't know, it's just mostly irrelevant, right? Like it is such a big argument of strength of schedule, this, that, and the other. Listen, if you go 10-2 in the Big Ten or the SEC, I don't care what, especially with bloated conferences and how big they are. If you go 10-2. In either of those conferences, you are in. There's no way for enough teams to go 10-2 to where there would ever be a problem with that, right? And so you know your pathway in. If you go 11-1 in the ACC, you are most likely in. There will not be many scenarios where that doesn't happen. And really the same is true for the Big 12. If you go 11-1, you're likely getting into this thing, right? Even if you lose the conference championship, I think you've got a really, really good chance to get in. And the problem is, just look back at the last 30 years of college football. There are never like 9-3 teams finish in the top 10. There are never situations where, oh man, what if 12 teams go 11-1? I don't know, man. What if hell freezes over? That's never happened in college football. Like there's never been 12 11-1 teams. And so this big debate, it's this big fight, strength of schedule, who are you playing against, what's going on with the SEC's 8 games or our 9 games. It's hilarious to me because it almost always ends up working out. Now, Alabama fans have been salty for 8 months. Well, welcome to Florida State fans' life since you guys got in over us. But it's silly to me, and I do like the pushback from the Big Ten, I like the pushback from these other coaches because, yeah, chill out, guys. Chill out with your idea of what strength of schedule is, what your conference is at this point. You mentioned, the SEC freakout. We are at a point now, I don't know if you've noticed this, but we're at a point now where the SEC no longer claims to be the best conference. Have you seen this?
It's great, actually. It's really awesome.
Deepest conference. Like
we're the underdog. Nobody believes in us.
That narrative. They no longer say we're the best. They say we're the deepest. And so that narrative is starting to change, and they're doing anything they can, obviously, to kind of reel things back in, and it's just marketing, right? Like they're trying to do their very best to market as they can, but it is funny to watch it all.
I think it's great that the SEC is having its greatest fit of the last 2 decades. It's awesome that the conference adds Texas and Oklahoma to become easily the strongest conference in college football history, and then says, we're so weak. We're only deep. We don't believe in ourselves, and neither do you. And we're gonna prove you all wrong. Like, stop doing this. No singular dictator over the world was like, but I'm not even that good. Like I'm just, that's like that's not. You can't start playing the underdog card. It doesn't work that way.
It's like when remember on a team-to-team basis, it does make more sense. Remember when Georgia won the national championship by like $1 billion against TCU, and those kids were like, "Yeah, man, like nobody believed this. Everybody doubted us. Kirby told us like go out and prove them wrong." And I'm like, "You guys were overwhelming favorites to win this thing like every week of the season, like from game 1 to game 15." Yeah, like you. What do you mean nobody believed in you? Like so. Anyway, funny to see.